Hi, my name is Patrick, and I'm a librarian at the Malden Public Library, of course, in Malden, Massachusetts. Welcome to our library's weekly book review series called 5 and 5, where we're going to be giving you a short, curated list of book recommendations, hopefully in 5 minutes or less. Check the link in this video's description. You can borrow any of these books from the Malden Public Library starting today. Without further ado, though, let me get to my list, which is a 5 and 5 on science fiction, and in particular, science fiction from the last 10 years or so. So, new books. First up on my list is a great example of what is known as hard sci-fi, a very realistic take on survival on a red planet. It is 2011's The Martian, written by Andy Weir. If you missed it, it was one of Malden Reed's book selections in years past. So our library should have a copy, a physical copy, if you want to read it. I will say, even if you've seen the movie, the book reads very differently. It's a very fun experience. And it is probably the fastest full-length novel that I've ever read in my life. I read it in about a day. So fast read, lots of fun, great sci-fi, and definitely one you don't want to skip. Second on the list is one that you will be hearing about more in the future as this author's works are devoured by film and television companies to feed the content machine. But it is a book of novels that you can find out there collected together as The Three-Body Problem. And it's written by Cixin Liu and translated by Qin Liu. And when we talk about out there science fiction, stories that are on the forefront of imagining what first contact might be like with an alien civilization, this collection of novels will provide a very chilling look at how humanity and these aliens might interact. The series follows characters over a very long period of time as they enact a kind of Cold War with an invading alien force that is just advancing across the galaxy. So pick this up if you're a fan of like War of the Worlds style classic conflicts, or series like Isaac Asimov's The Foundation. Third on my list is one of my personal favorites, and one that you might have heard of. It might be a little intimidating if you've seen the physical book, if you haven't dived in. And the book is the first in the series, is called Leviathan Wakes. And it's by James S. Corey. It has often been compared to being the Game of Thrones of outer space, as it is a very long series made up of about 9 books and just has a very thick tome look to it. Dozens of characters all over, spread out across the world there. And it follows the main characters as they traverse our solar system and space stations and asteroids and clunky spaceships. There's mysteries of, in this first book, a destroyed ice trawler, a missing girl, and a hidden research facility that kind of culminates in this great story that you come at from different characters' points of views, very similar to Game of Thrones. And it's a great kicking off point for a universe of adventure in what's known as the Expanse series. So check this book out if you need, I would say, months, certainly weeks of reading material, as each book is about 500 pages. Next up is another series, this time by author Ann Leckie, and it's called Ancillary Justice. It's a little more grand, a little more epic than some of the other kind of harder series in this list, but this book finds the main protagonist, kind of a cybernetic copy called an Ancillary. Her name is Breck, and she is the sole surviving crew of a ship known as the Justice of Torin. As the novel and the series kind of unfold, she finds herself unraveling the mystery of what happened to her down ship and getting revenge on who started this intergalactic war. So this is very classic space opera, updated maybe for a new generation. And if you have a love for that kind of grand science fiction, on that massive scale, there are 2 other books in the series. It's technically a trilogy, but there's also a book of some short stories, so there's a lot to read there. And last but not least is Ndende Okorafor's novella series, starting with Benty. While the author eschews titles like Afrofuturism, this novel inspired many African authors and turns into science fiction, just kind of brings that segment of books, that segment of the genre to the forefront. The novel follows a young African girl who moves from her village homestead and travels to a university on the other side of the galaxy. And en route, her ship is boarded by an alien species that wipes the rest of the crew. And she's the only one that has success in communicating with them and is able to form a bond because, thanks to her culture's traditions. It's a very fast read. This first novella, we have all three of them, the books in one print edition, or you can find them online separate. But that's going to do it. Those are 5 picks, all within the last decade they have been published. If you haven't read another science fiction book since Dune or 2001, it's okay. This list can catch you up on some new great talents, all of whom I should mention are still writing, are still producing great books today. So check the link in the description here to reserve any of the titles that you heard about here today, and we will see you on the next 5 and 5. Have a great day, and thank you guys for watching.